Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, and I thought I would sit down and do another video for you guys and gals. Let me get a sip of my water first. My beautiful radio voice going, and let's talk about this. Yes, I'm still fasted this morning, so I don't have veins popping out everywhere. But you got to deal with it. You got to get over it. All right, so I put up a short yesterday of me doing preacher curls with my new preacher bench. Didn't really have any weight on it, but I was showing it off, and the question came up by multiple people. Hey Jason, I thought you said preacher curls are dangerous. Hey Jason, why would you invest in such a dangerous exercise? Hey Jason, do these things still tear biceps, or did you flip-flop? The answer is preacher curls are potentially dangerous. So let's get that very, very clear. I know people who've torn biceps on them. You guys know Izzy from Powerlifting to Win? He went over full bodybuilding a while back and he tore a bicep while doing heavy preacher curls. Yes, they're absolutely risky. They are absolutely risky, and I see a lot of people performing them in a way that is high risk. It is going to cause them problems eventually, and yes, people should be worried about that. But that doesn't mean that you are invariably going to tear a bicep. It comes down to everything else. The safe way to perform an exercise. And you got to use a little common sense. When you think of a preacher curl, right? You've got your arms out in front. This down here does put you in a position to where you could potentially tear the bicep. Why? Because you are loading out into that stretched position. It is one of the few exercises that we are put into the true lengthened position. There's the most mechanical tension. It has a lot of mechanical tension at the bottom. Whereas in some other stretch position stuff like the incline, the mechanical tension's further up near the shortened position, even though it puts you into a deep stretch. But that itself has value. It's a totally different contraction. In fact, it's a great combination to do both of them. But yes, it puts you into that position, and it's a little bit precarious. So here's what I would say to people. Wouldn't it be in your best interest to not accidentally overload with a weight you can't handle? That is how people get hurt on preacher curls. Just like with any other exercise, doing them incorrectly. What would be an incorrect way to do a preacher curl? To cheat. So to get a weight and to lay back to help you lift a heavier weight. Right? So you're cheating. You're using a weight heavier than you can technically use. All right, so what happens when we go into that stretch position down at the bottom? What happens? You come down, snap, bicep pops. Why? Because you were going into that deepest mechanical tension place and you've been cheating to get a weight up that you can't technically lift. Now you put the bicep into a stretch position with a higher mechanical tension than it is capable of handling when put into that position. You're lifting more than your 1 rep max on the lift, in short. And then you went into a stretch position with the arm out extended. Yes, biceps can snap, tendons can snap at that point. So why don't you just not cheat? Okay, how's that for a solution? How about you don't cheat on the exercise? Do them strict. Lock yourself into position and do them. Okay, the next big one, partials. How many guys on the preacher curl do this? Okay, it's ridiculous for one. Why? Why do you do a preacher curl? Because of the ability to load the lengthened position. You see people who do it and they're using a weight that they can't technically take into the bottom. It's just like the cheat reps. What do you think happens? What do you think is going to happen eventually? You're not using a weight that exceeds your 1 rep max, which is well and good if you have a safety arm to hit your hand on. But it's just hanging in the air. And it's hanging in the air in a way to where, look at again where that stretch is. See what the bicep even does when you get out there? Watch my bicep when you get to that lock. Right? Goes into that stretch. Well, if you're doing half reps, you might be using, say, a 50-pound dumbbell, when in reality, you should be using a 20 or 25. You know, you're given strength. Or you're doing it with a barbell. you might be using really double the weight that you could do for a 10 rep set, which then means 10 rep sets probably about 72% of your 1 rep max. You're exceeding your 1 rep max. What's going to happen when invariably you fail and you don't catch it? A lot of guys are like, well, I can just catch it with the other hand. Well, okay, you're taking that risk. But the thing I would say is, why are you even doing it? You're getting lesser results. It's the lengthened position. So might I recommend that you only do weights you can do at least 8 to 10 reps with and go all the way down to your elbow lock, right? To wherever your range of motion happens to be. Because different people have different ranges of motion in their elbow. Some people can hyperextend, some people can't even go to 90 degrees at their joint locks. So take it to your joint locks. People say, isn't that dangerous? No, that's actually the safest way to do it. Do people not understand that your joints are intended to lock? That is, again, where a lot of injuries and nonsense comes from. People are like, oh, joints are not meant to lock. Shouldn't load them on your work sets? Yes, you should. People even say that with leg exercises. Really, you've never seen anyone squat 1,000 pounds and lock it at the top and walk it in just fine in a powerlifting meet? Did their knee snap? You've never seen someone bench press 600 pounds at a powerlifting meet and lock it and rack it just fine without any damage to their elbow? What are you talking about? Joints are made to lock. What they're not made to do is lock weights, like into that stretch that is heavier than you can lift. Okay? And if you train it to always go to that position, and you do that full range of motion on every single rep, what do you think happens? You're good to go. The only counter argument I'll get from some people would be like, but you don't lock your elbows on anything. But I'm like, I actually do. That is literally my elbow lock. Must feel like I'm ready to show people, right? I don't know. That's. But when I do stuff on camera, it looks a little different. And I'm like, I'm going into a full dead hang. You're watching me hang with weights. I mean, that's as far as they go. But people don't seem to realize that you can safely lock joints under load. They're meant to do that. Okay? Your body's designed to do that. What you don't want to do is have overuse issues or load excessive weights into those positions that you can't actually handle through a full range of motion. That's where the problems start. All right, guys, but that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative, and I'll talk to you guys and gals next time.